¿Listo?
Yes, great.
See, when we do these talks, Álvaro, we talk about you've seen the stamp. What's on your bottle?
Okay.
The stamp for packaged, right? It says world class. It says transparently made and owned by the producer or the family that makes it, right? Those are our cornerstone things. So when we're here in Taberna of Raicilla,
Yes.
right? So when we talk about world class, it's a representation. It's the best representation of what is that. But the obvious question to most people is, what the hell is Raicilla?
Yes.
Can you enlighten us there?
Yes, I can. Raicilla is mezcal. It's made in less than a half part of the state of Jalisco.
Mm-hmm.
That is made with 5 kind of agave. The most important is Maximiliana. That is the one that is grown in the mountains, and the second one is Agustifolia, that is growing more in the coast.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 kinds of Raicilla. By the way they made it, is the one that is in the coast, because it's made most like the way they do it in Oaxaca.
Yeah.
And the Raicilla in the mountain is most by the way they made the tequila, no? So why is called Raicilla? Because in the times of the Spaniards conquest Mexico,
Yeah.
in the years of 17,000, they prohibit to distillate mezcal. So in this zone, this area that was very difficult to come here, they changed the name to avoid the law.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
So they changed the name to Raicilla, so that's the way they say, we're not making mezcal, we're making Raicilla. So since the years of 17,000, they call it Raicilla here, the mezcal. And the way they do it in these past 400 years. No?
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
a little bit different, and with these 2 kinds of Raicilla I told you. No?
And the name Raicilla
what's
is
the meaning?
something related to root, or is just a coincidence?
Yeah,
In Spanish, translates to little root.
there's some stories, but the ones that songs more is that the piña looks like the raíz, because part of the piña was behind the soil, and that's why. But nobody knows who called it Raicilla. But
So-
it was a name that everybody adopted here in this area. There is, like I tell you, like less than a half of the area of the state of Jalisco.
Right. Fausto, you're the operations of this taberna.
Yes.
So did he get it right?
Yes. No, yeah. Yeah, it's okay. No, and something interesting about the question about Sergio is because when you cut the pencas, you go to the root.
Okay.
But like Álvaro, no one's know why. But the truth about Raicilla, I say, is other kind of mezcal. It's the mezcal of Jalisco, no? And something interesting about Raicilla maybe is the smallest denomination of origin.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about mezcales or agave spirits, sometimes we say it's like a champagne of destilados de agave because it's very similar than champagne, no? It's very small, the DO, and the flavors are very unique.
And just for clarity, and you're involved with the Council of the Raicilleros, right?
Yes.
So when that was being organized, I suppose you could have petitioned to join the Mezcal DO.
No. The DO of mezcals comes since 1990, no? And in that time, the mezcal, in the way to protect the raw mezcal, because there was a DO of tequila before, they say Jalisco cannot have mezcal.
See.
So what happened with the Raicilla? It is not in the tequila DO, and even because of that, not mezcal too. But the Raicilla called Raicilla since the years of 17,000. So
Yeah.
the name don't have problem. The problem was don't have DO.
Let's see.
So there's a group of almost 14 guys that they were lovers of the Raicilla. They started the Consular in the year of 2000. And they start to study how to try to get the DO of Raicilla. And they make an studies. There's like a procedure, very, you can search for it, and so they make all the studies that to understand which regions call it to his distillate Raicilla, and you have to integrate all the way they do it. Let me explain you something. There is, because sometimes many people don't understand why in the coast they call it Raicilla, but they make it by the way of mezcal in Oaxaca. And in the mountains, they call it Raicilla, but they make it by the way of tequila.
Yeah.
But both call it Raicilla. So because both call it Raicilla, has to be both in the DO. But the explanation is because when the Spaniards comes, they comes with Asian workers. The Spaniards don't have slaves, they have workers. And these guys from Asia, they know how to distillate by the Asia way. And it's the same way in Oaxaca distillate, by the Asia way, with an oven under the soil, and with another kind of distillation machine. No, but these guys, the Spaniards, goes to the mountain to try to conquest the rest of the country. But these Asian guys, they say, "Oh no, I can't go to the mountains because it's very cold." So these workers, they stay in the coast, and the Spaniards go to the mountain, conquest Mexico, and they start to teach the population in the mountain how to distillate the agave. And the way they teach is the Arabic way, no? Because the Spaniards learn how to distillate because these guys from Arabia conquist them, no? So it's the other way you distillate that is the same way that the tequila is made, no? So in 2014, they put the study on the authorities of Mexico. There is the INPI, and there is the entity that give us the certifications of brands and stuff like that, and give it the DO. And they say yes in the year of 2019. And since 2019, we start to work as a DO.
So you mentioned the way they do it in Oaxaca. So here we have Carlos.
I think there are
In
two
Oaxaca, there are
very,
many ways
very
to do it.
important details. I don't know if you call the plant mezcal here.
No,
You
we
call
don't
it
call it.
Well,
agave.
it depends on
Agave?
where. Because
Or maguey.
yeah,
Maguey, because we call it maguey in Oaxaca.
sometimes
So we produce mezcal from maguey.
But-
And outside of Oaxaca, they will make tequila with mezcal because they call the plant mezcal.
I don't know many years ago how they call it, but the recent years, I told you 30 years ago, they call it agave because of the influence of tequila. They
Yeah,
call it
of course.
agave to all of these kind of
so
plants.
it's
no?
the same. O sea, maguey, mezcal, and agave is the same. Maybe the right name is agave because came from agabaceae, like the botanical name. Even maguey.
In Oaxaca, it's maguey.
This
No,
maguey.
yes, but because it came from Mayahuela. And mezcal came from Nahuatl. It means cooked agave. Maybe we could say everything is mezcal because tequila, raicilla, and mezcal we cook the agave, right?
Sure.
So I think that's an interesting point
Yes.
because so tequila they can only use Blue Weber.
Yes.
So if you don't have Blue Weber here, you cannot make tequila, right? So you have Maximiliana,
Angustifolia,
Angustifolia,
Rodacanta, Valenciana.
and that's
Inaquidens.
so you are
Yes.
automatically out of the tequila DO, right? Because if you plant tequila Weber here, can you make tequila?
This area is tequila DO2.
So
But if you have tequila
But the
Weber,
people don't make tequila.
So they
make
overlap?
raicilla.
Like you can cultivate plants from here?
You can
and-
put a plant of tequila here.
Because we're in Jalisco.
A factory of tequila.
So
you
the
can
whole
put-
state of Jalisco
Because
is
the
tequila.
whole state of Jalisco
Okay.
can make tequila. But in this area, nobody makes tequila. Everybody makes raicilla. But everybody can grow Weber. No? Tequila
any
Weber.
grows here?
Yeah, there's a lot of Weber.
We have neighbors,
around here.
agaveros
okay.
of tequila Weber. I don't know, but maybe Jalisco is the only state with 2 DOs, no?
Well, in
About agave
Durango-
spirits.
Well, yeah. We have
Michoacán.
Sotol,
Total and Mezcal.
which is not an agave
Yes.
spirit.
Yeah, Michoacán
It's
has
Sicilian.
the charanda,
Charanda.
and the
But
mezcal.
about agave spirits, Jalisco have both.
Interesting.
Mezcal and tequila.
You mentioned the process. I would like to hear more about what's different in the process, about how Carlos, for example, makes mezcal, and how do you, because we visited some tequila producers, and it's very different to what they do. So I think it's unfair for raicilla to say it's made by like tequila, because for me it's much more different. Especially fermentation.
It's an easy
Just the
way
oil.
to explain,
Yeah.
but it's less like the way of tequila, but not with all the modern techniques they use right now. We have a very artisanal industry in the raicilla.
Yeah.
I said it's the raicilla from the mountains is almost like the tequila of 1970. No,
We like the rustic process.
Yeah.
yeah. With ovens of stone and over the
Steels,
fall.
heating with wood, for example.
Yeah.
yes, but that isn't. I don't want to confuse. No, it's not that the raicilla tabernas are like a tequila distiller plant. No, they're very small. With something that is in the norm right now is in raicilla. You cannot use a distiller more than 3,000 liters.
Okay.
The top is 3,000 liters. No, we cannot use an column, distiller column.
Diffuser?
Diffuser too.
Diffuser, we cannot use the
Congrats on
diffuser.
that.
Yes. Cheers for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we cannot use that is very normal in the tequila industry.
Sure. I catch Carlos a minute ago when he talks about, well, in Oaxaca, we call it maguey. And he says it like, because we're fucking right. Right? He just says it with such confidence and pride, right?
Yeah.
Well, in Oaxaca, it's this way, right? That's cool. I love it.
Well, after all, the real thing is that all the spirits made with agave are mezcals.
Yes.
Sure.
Is it true?
Tequila is a mezcal.
Sure.
Raicilla is a mezcal. Like
yes.
everything is
Bacanora.
Bacanora is a
Mechuilla.
mezcal.
Yes.
So I think like where you're producing it is the key. You know, to make the difference
Yeah.
in all the mezcals.
Yeah.
Where and how?
Yeah.
And
Where-
where
Both.
and
Yeah.
how,
For example,
both.
when I produce, I'm all about where you produce it, the terroir. And for example, I want to talk about, I always talk about this funky note, this cheesy note that has raicilla. And I hope to understand a bit better while I'm here. Where does that note come from? But as for me, that's very distinct, at least for the Sierra
from the cows,
expressions.
from the cows.
Yeah, it's very funny.
And if you try what I produce, also it has a very specific,
Yes,
because the place talks about the agave, talks about all the gists, about the water, about all the microorganisms that's happening. So it's really about the place. Then the process for me is not just being careful not to alter that, like to express what's already there.
Yeah. No, the truth is because behind of us we have a cheese factory.
Okay.
In front of us we have a milk factory too.
Okay. Makes sense.
So inside of our fermentation we have like a kind of maybe, well, we have a lot of microorganisms making the fermentation. So that's the reason why we have flavors like a cheese, butter, milk. So, but
I love it.
Yes, exactly.
Making your own terroir.
It's unique.
I'm curious, and I could be wrong. So about this, but you mentioned the Asian influence. I've heard that to be Filipino.
The Filipino.
I've heard the term Filipino still,
Yes.
which I understand to be a wood,
the one I use.
wooden top, like
In
what
your
you
case,
use.
no?
Yeah. in
right?
Michoacán. I know how it got to Durango.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's at both schools. It's a debate of where it began. Some say in Colima, in the coast, with the Asians. Others say it's from Veracruz, from the Arab influence through the Spaniards.
Mm.
But
think-
what reached our region was
I think I'm from
Asian,
Colima because in
which is what-
Colima they made
Tusca.
wine of tuba.
with coconut.
yeah.
Some
Exactly.
coconut sap or something
I
like that.
start there, and after that we have a prohibit.
Yeah, the tuba comes from the palms.
And it's,
The
that's the
Filipinos
other
too.
part. You work with what you have there. So you have wood. If you have access to certain materials, that's what you use, right?
Yeah, everybody, I think, get the lesson that how to make the distiller, how to make your own spirits, but everybody adapted with the condition they have around.
Yeah.
So that's the difference that we have between the raicilla, the mezcal, the tequila, the bacanora, even the sotol. That is,
But in the
they
end,
use the same techniques, but they don't use an agavacia, no?
in the end, is what you get here.
Sure.
What it tastes like.
Sure.
Like no matter what you did, like which process, which materials, which microorganisms, is
Everything changed.
what you get here.
It's about like you, like the terroir, like the altitude,
Yeah,
the
like
water,
the weather,
the
even.
the water,
microorganisms,
the
the
weather,
agave,
everything.
the yeast,
Everything
the sugar content.
Let me ask you about the opposite of that. So the next word on our list was transparent, meaning in English, meaning there's nothing hidden in the process, right? Because so our company started in tequila, and that's a big controversy, right? Is the we call additives, albicantes and additives. They're different. Yeah, you don't know. So, but in Raicilla,
in this case, I think transparency, there is a word that use package,
yeah,
I think is almost the same than simplicity.
Mm.
Because it comes equal. In
Or
this
honesty.
business,
Honesty.
yeah, but in this business, in order to have your spirit, if you make all the things simplicity is you
Simple
get better
and
product.
honest.
Yeah, simple
It is what it is.
because you don't need to make more things. It's like when Lou came and told me, what you did with this asil? And I said, I just put in the barrel.
Yeah.
No, I can't believe you. What did you? I just put in the barrel. No, you don't have to say more.
Yeah.
No? But
Yeah.
the people sometimes wants to hear more
Yes.
Sure.
because there's a bunch of
They
people.
want a story. They want a story.
There's a bunch of people
Oaxacans, they're good at telling
that
stories.
says a lot of things, and sometimes it's things that never do. No.
Sure.
And,
Sure.
But maybe most of the society right now wants more explanation or more.
Sure. But like in mezcal, there are no additives or albicantes involved. So in Raicilla is the same.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's in the Norma. There's no.
Yeah, it's only the slate. And in the normal, you cannot use additives.
Mm-hmm.
There's another raicilla that is called liquors that you can
It's
mix
different, like maracuya and raicilla, for example, but
Like a
it-
flavored.
exactly.
Like a liqueur.
It's a liquor.
Liquors.
It's not a
There's
raicilla.
Liquors.
Like-
You can make liquors, but
Raicilla based
raicilla
liquor.
is only.
Yes.
Like the Raicilla based.
Yes.
Or we went to San Gregorio and they had Raicilla with special additives.
Marijuana.
With cannabis, and it had like the,
That's a special
Yeah,
additive.
with a mota inside.
Just in San Gregorio.
the nut,
Yeah,
like
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that was out of the norm.
it was pretty affordable. I was thinking about getting one
Yeah,
bottle.
for sure.
I
for
think
sure.
you never find
250
the
pesos?
certification.
No,
in the
probably
bottle.
not. Probably not. So let me ask my last cornerstone piece, right? Is the idea that it's producer owned, meaning
Yeah.
so you are the family that owns this place.
Yeah.
You
we're
are
the
making
family.
this product, right?
Yeah. We made all these. We have our lands with agave. We harvest. We make all the process. We bottle, and we send it to package by own. No. And the other good thing is this is a new industry here since 10 years ago. Give us new employees, 16 people. That is great for a town for 60 families.
Sure.
And Even the owner of the grocery store said, "I'm rich, you." I'm rich too.
The mini
Yes.
super. She's getting rich. So most of the people who would watch this are probably in the United States, right? Most of these products are going to end up in the United States. If a consumer knows about Raicilla in the United States, they probably know about it from what I call a collector brand, right? One of these brands that buys from many producers and then puts it in their bottle, right, in their label. Maybe it's a different color or something, but it's that kind of a thing, right?
Yes, I think this Raicilla, many people.
Sure. Sure. Well, my question, I'm
working it.
curious. So you're working in your role with the council and
Yeah.
working with the producers. What does it mean to them to have their own brand
No.
versus filling bottles for a collector brand? Like what does that mean
Okay.
to Mascota?
I know
right?
where
and
you
to
go.
the producer.
One of the things that the DO is protecting
Yeah.
is the producer.
Yeah.
Because what is very common is when the DO start, many economic interest wants to get in.
Sure.
No, so the way the consular protect all these very small producers, because we have more than 150 very small producers that they make in a year maybe 1,000 and a half liters per year, is to put like conditions of production of machines you can use very small. So that is going to give to all the producers the time to make their business grow, because right now they attend their own taberna, they make their own raicilla, and if the raicilla gets a bigger market, in the time they're gonna get more money, more capacity, economic capacity.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have the time to grow their taverns, to produce more, and maybe in the future, because every 10 years you can change the norm.
Yeah.
The norm.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, when all the producers are prepared,
Yeah.
we can increase the capacity of the machines you use in the tavern. No, but that depends too. That we need to make some studies that don't change the raicilla.
Yeah.
To take care that in the way to increase the machines, don't change that the spirit of the raicilla. No.
Sure.
There is in small batches, taking care in all part of the process. No.
Well, its honesty is not like I want to say it sounds offensive, but in honesty, I think mezcal is maybe 1% of tequila sales,
Like
something?
2%.
2%, and the raicilla doesn't measure. Sorry,
0.0000000.
sorry, you don't even measure.
No, it's true.
Yeah, we'll work on that. But Carlos, you've been at this. You've been at this your whole life, right?
Yes.
What's the hard parts of
It's an easy question.
yeah?
Yeah. Finding your gringo, you know? That's what we need.
What do you mean, Carlos? Can you explain to me?
And I
What
always
is
say
this
it,
gringo?
and
What do you mean by
I know
that? Yeah.
I've told him, I told them that we need like to make a team with with a gringo, because before I found of a package. Like I was trying to sell, and it was very difficult. You know, there are many gringos
Yeah,
that own mezcal brands
sure.
and tequila brands, and just a lot of brands. And like for them, it's really easy to sell to, you know,
They know the market.
they know the market, they know the people, they know
people.
what to do to sell. And I think also the customers trust in them like really easy. And it was hard for us as brand owners to go out and sell, because we needed to have
Just
to find our
figuring
gringos.
out all the regulations, and then we're talking yesterday about even regulation, like the law. If you are not an American resident,
non-resident,
like you are not
very
able
difficult.
to, and most of Americans that get involved in agave business, they make brands. And I've said this before, and I will say it. I really appreciate what Package is doing, because instead of making a brand and just buying from us, what Sean was saying, they are helping us create our own brand.
Even
So
it's like
like having a partner more than a customer.
Maybe like a relationship, no? Because we trust in you, you trust in us, and there's the work, no?
That's
And-
the way
and-
it
and
works,
they
a
are-
partnership.
Exactly.
We're working as a partnership.
For sure. Well, you mentioned Felipe, and one of the things I've said about Felipe is I've said to him, I said, your job is to sell the second bottle, right?
Yeah.
And I said, my job is to sell the first bottle.
Yeah.
Your job is to sell the second bottle. So, and meaning the quality
The quality
and
makes
the
the
value,
second bell.
right? The value
Yes.
that the customer receives for the quality.
But that one first bottle is hard.
It is
like
hard.
with all the regulations,
It is.
with all
It
the
is hard.
different states, with different rules, with
Yeah.
different laws, and getting there, and the three-tier system, and importing,
Sure.
and all that. Like for a small independent brand, that's almost impossible.
Well, and the funny thing to me, that's the easy part.
Yeah, for you.
Well,
The
well
ver-
yeah, but that, no, the
Compared to
easy-
making
to,
mezcal.
to put this bottle on the shelf in the United States, that's not hard. Getting somebody to decide to pick it up and spend their money on it and take it home, that's hard.
Yes.
That's the job. That's the marketing job.
Yeah,
That's
when we start this
Making the
business,
mezcal and putting it in that
well,
bottle.
and that's the second
That's the
bottle,
other-
right?
and
I
you
say
can do
making
it-
mezcal
and
is
you can
very
do
easy.
everything.
That's
Selling
the
it
second
is the
bottle.
difficult
You can
part.
either focus on producing like something interesting, and as we all producer and brand owners,
Yeah.
you can't do everything
No,
at the same time. So that's when you need
for sure,
team effort. So
for sure.
that's when everyone does their job. For you, it's easy to put them in the shelves. For us, it's not easy, but we managed to make the juice.
Yeah.
And
Well, and,
Works for
and
everyone.
exceptional juice it is. Right?
yes, this is good stuff, man.
This is fantastic.
yeah, and that when we started the business, we thought the Mexican law in spirits were crazy, very difficult. But when I start to try to sell in US, I says Mexico is great with his law. What happened
So
with
easy.
US? I have to study every state.
Well,
Yeah.
they just
No?
charge us
No, it was
70%
crazy.
taxes.
Yeah,
and apart from that, do whatever you
And
want.
the other thing I said to Sergio is there is a general law of liquor in US, but there is another law for the non-resident,
Yeah.
and with a few small letters that change everything.
Just make it harder,
Yeah.
almost impossible.
For example, when I was in Dallas,
Yeah.
I was talking with Álvaro about was very easy make the selling, no, in the liquor store.
Yeah.
Was very easy. Like, give me 3 bottles, give me a case, and I say, well, it's not complicated, but what's the next step? The rotation, no, the
Sure.
people really
The marketing step.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Distribution, like everything that happens behind
How?
the back end.
The thing
Yeah.
is, do you have to make that the people get confidence with every Raicilla they see? O sea, they have first to try Raicilla to say, okay, Raicilla is great.
Yeah.
And after they got the first try,
Yeah.
next time it's not gonna be difficult for them to try another brand or
Yeah.
to try another label, no?
I want. Can I circle back? I think that's an interesting. I want to ask you about. So we just had you 3 guys in Dallas for a week, right? So Mark Sorrell, my partner, and Gabby, who were in Texas, and the guys from RNDC and probably from Specs, probably they
Total Wine.
organized Total Wine. They organized and the North Texas Tequila Club.
Yes.
Right, so they
Fernando.
had Raicilla and Mezcal at the Tequila Club. Well, but how did you find the experience of? Because you were on the street all day, every day,
Yes.
knocking on door, all 3 of you, right?
course.
What was that experience like?
It was a very exciting exercise because we're expressing a guy from Mexico.
Yeah,
So here's a guy like the classic. Well, the way we kind of first Fausto, you go and try
No.
try to convince them what Raicilla is.
In 2 minutes.
But normally, well, I think kind of like Carlos doing like what more people relate to, like that more people know about mezcal, that is Oaxaca,
Yeah.
like the more classic kind of expressions that and
Maybe
kind of-
around 10, 15 years ago, nobody knew what mezcal was.
yeah,
So it was really hard to explain So you will say it's like a smoky tequila.
Yeah.
So now, when you are saying
that's a
what
big
is raicilla,
controversial phrase,
this is a
by the
mezcal. This is a mezcal from Oaxaca.
Yeah.
But now people knows what mezcal is.
Yes.
Because if you say like, I don't know,
True.
15 years ago, what's a raicilla? Ah, it's a mezcal. And what's mezcal? So you'll
Right.
be at the
So,
same.
so now we're being okay. You know what
That's the
mezcal
step
already?
Raicilla is right now. You have to explain first what is Raicilla.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
first we explain what is mezcal.
Yeah, nobody
And
cares
mezcal from
about
Oaxaca,
you-
most of people believe, some people believe that mezcal only comes from Oaxaca.
Yeah.
But then, okay, then it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? There's also mezcal in Durango.
Yeah.
And then we talk about what we do different from that base. And then, okay,
Sure.
good luck.
Sure.
Now Raicilla.
It was funny because when
What is working on that?
when we were in the Toro Wine,
Yeah.
approaching the people, no? I said like, do you know what is mezcal? The people, yes. Well, would you try mezcal from Jalisco? Raicilla, we have raicilla. So we are like
Okay.
brothers.
Okay.
It's,
Okay.
it's like a bridge, no?
Yeah,
Because
'cause
we are the
in-
same
Yeah.
line.
And in total wine and a tasting, those are just consumers of alcohol.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're not there
Exactly.
to buy mezcal.
No
even.
one was there for buy mezcal. We managed to sell
They're going to
some
buy
bottles.
some beer or some vodka.
some
or whatever,
wine.
right? Yeah.
And then also what I find really interesting is we have all of our expressions are very different.
Sure.
All of them are agave spirits.
Sure.
Like
We have the
essentially all
north,
of the
the
same.
south, and the
Different
middle.
regions, but then just like people that took the time to try all of them.
Sure.
Which were a lot because
Yeah.
Carlos brought like 4 expressions.
Carlos does that. Yeah. It's his game.
So it's like, okay, open bar, total wine, right?
Well, let me ask you. So I just mentioned a minute ago the Tequila Club.
Yes.
So we did an event with the North Texas Tequila Club. So those are hardcore tequila nerds,
Yes.
right? And now you're bringing them mezcal, exotic mezcal, if I may, and this raicilla. What was the reception and how did it go with the aficionados of tequila?
Carlos.
It was pretty. I would say it was very very easy
Yeah.
because they already know a lot.
Okay.
They maybe they know better than us because they know mezcals from Oaxaca,
Sure.
Guerrero, Michoacán, Puebla, and so it was very. It was an interesting work
Yeah.
because also I think there are people that are already known in the industry to make a recommendation.
Sure.
Like if they say, okay, this is I have a bottle of El Acabo and I like it, drinking, then people is gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
those
I
are
think-
true influencers, like
Yes, true
in
influencers,
the
yeah.
true sense of,
Sure.
of opinion leaders,
Sure.
because they are studying.
Sure.
Not everyone, and I appreciate these clubs because not everyone takes the time
Yes.
to go deep and find and get educated and assist to
Right.
these events and
Right.
hear directly from producers, because we were there that week.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming next week another producer come
for
and
sure.
next week and they are always like learning and taking
Yeah,
notes, and
for
they,
sure.
as Carlos would say, they might know even more than us about mezcal because we know our thing,
Your thing,
but they
yeah.
know
But
everything.
I think they want to know the difference, no? Because they
Sure.
already know what it is. They ask for the different, no? Maybe it's not the
and
case of
enjoyment.
raicilla.
They were excited to try something. For example,
Yeah.
we saw with
New
someone
or
released batches, and they were really excited about something more unique, more different. I bring
Yeah.
the Sotol Lamparillo
yeah.
ensemble.
Yeah.
You brought the
Your
some
Yeah.
secret pechuga that we're
That's
releasing
secret.
time soon.
Well, so what you guys are, I want a soapbox for a minute. I'll jump on the table. So we talk about marketing, and one of the things that the package marketing is founded on is the jargon is consumer brand advocacy. So in English, that's the jargon phrase. So you talked about they're the real influencers.
Yes.
And I like that term, right? So to me, in my jargon, an influencer generally is paid like a celebrity endorser,
Yes.
if you will, right? But the people you're talking about that are members of the Tequila Club and they're studying and they're paying their own money to go to a club event for the opportunity to
taking the
talk to you
time.
and learn. But those people become like the guy in their office that everybody knows. Steve knows. He knows
about it.
everything
Yeah.
about tequila. So anybody in the office ever has a question about tequila,
Yeah.
Steve. right? But Steve also goes to his local bars, and he complains about Casamigos, and he says, no, don't you know this isn't real? You guys need to have G4, and he badgers the bartenders, right?
Yes.
And then he goes to the Total Wine, and he says, why are you selling me this Padrino or whatever this is? Then I want to buy Fortaleza, or I want to buy Cascojín, right? And those people are,
They help us a lot. They are like our ambassadors because
they are.
Businessmen care about their business.
Yeah.
So when these guys begin to make waves
Yeah.
and influence other people,
Yeah.
It makes a difference for
Yeah.
us independent brands, like selling one more case, two more cases. It makes a difference.
Sure. And I asked for you guys to be transparent. So if I'm transparent to what we're doing in marketing, and like what's happening right now, right, will be seen by the type of person that becomes a consumer brand advocate. That's why we do this type of thing. Nobody that's not a hardcore nerd is going to sit around for a half an hour and listen to you guys. No offense, right?
I get it. Fair.
No offense, right? So but empowering those people, right, with information and insight, a new story, new
and
angle.
give them a special unreleased batches and hearing them, because also like their opinion for us is really important. Like, how do you like this? And
for sure. Well, and that becomes a two-way. When you have those people that are the brand advocates of your brand, then they become relational.
Yeah.
Right, and they have the opportunity
they become
to
friends.
for sure. It becomes
they help you a lot.
It becomes very special.
They become fans.
Yes, we feel like maybe like a rock star now.
Well, so those are the challenges.
Yeah.
From getting the consumer to try it first, to buy it, to buy it again, to develop that connection between the brand and the customer, and maybe also between the owner of the brand and the customer, because when you're buying another like big brand, that who knows who is the owner, like they just want to make more money and that's it. So there is no like connection between who's behind the brand and who's buying the brand.
Gracias, Álvaro. Salud.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Álvaro, for hosting us.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Sean, for making this happen.
It's very exciting.
It's fun.
To have,
I've been learning a lot from these guys.
Yeah, to organically and in maybe 1 week time to have this trip come together is very special, and I thank you guys honestly, because I'm very excited to have this occur, and then have you meet Juan Eduardo, and have you meet Felipe, and have and spend more time with me, and then record more things for the people at home to see. I think something very special is happening for Packaged, and I'm very excited about that. So I'm very, very grateful. I thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
We are forming a team.
Yeah.
Even if we are in different business, in the spirit business, but you're mezcal.
I heard someone say the Power Rangers.
Yeah. Can I be the red one?
No, it's great, the connection that we are making a bigger team. Because it's not just one with Sean and you with Sean. We're together making this package growing.
It's awesome. That's
the family package.
That's the spirit.
Thank you.
Salud.
Coming package.
Y yo necesito más. Y ya se me acabó.